And it actually echoes the string. It doesn't even return, it just echoes the string.
How's it finding it?
I'm passing in, so I've defined what the printf function is, and here at the end of the script, I'm actually running the function. So I'm saying run the printf function, and within that, this query to the database. It may be easier to think of it like this.
So the print a file is saved in the same server as the script.
Mm-hmm. Same folder.
Just magic, you know?
So that's what we're going to do
So
with
save the
Travel
folder.
Pro site with that panel. We're going to include, it's going to be included in the panel at the top of the homepage. Included. Yeah. MyAdmin.
Personally, I like to put as many things on the same line as I can, but it's easier to read, to break it out into multiple lines. So in this case, let's break it out. Let's say I'm going to get results from the database. That actually should be an array. I'm sorry.
Get it together, Scott.
Yeah, get my letters right here. Actually, it doesn't matter. As I mentioned last week, PHP doesn't really care what you call the function. That's just something that we have inside the building as a convention of naming your variables by a letter. But anyway, we get an array of results out of the database, and then now let's print those results. In this case, we don't need to save the results of print A as anything. Print A, all it does is echo to the screen, so we don't need to save it. Like in other cases, we would need to write $chart equals print A and then echo it, but we don't need to do that. So print A is a wonderful thing. All right. So now let's talk about how to actually query the database. There's 4 kinds of statements that you'll ever actually run on a database. Select is the most common. Select is for pulling information out. There's also insert, update, and delete. Each one has slightly different syntax, but it's basically the same. And the database in this case that we're using is MySQL or MySQL. This is a knockoff of Microsoft's SQL Server, SQL Server. Microsoft has a very wonderful and very powerful system. It is, however, proprietary and very expensive. It's, I don't know how much money, but it's 6 figures, maybe to run a really powerful server with that, and I can get a license for it. So the very popular free open source version of that is very similar, which is this. It's not quite as powerful, but for us, I think there's only been a few times like Visit Florida dialog program after 10 years. It's something like 10 million names in the system, and that was starting to reach its limits for storage capacity. MySQL is a wonderful system, very easy to use. You pass an instruction to the server, and it passes back a result. And most of the times you're passing a select statement, you're saying give me information. So you want to select, and then whatever fields you want to select. This can be a list, so in this case, we have a list of fields. Let's say give me email address and phone number out of those fields. Email, comma, phone. Or I can say just select email, or select whatever the fields are. If you want all of the fields, just use star. And most often, most people just use select star. It's very easy shorthand, and then within that, you can get the fields out that you need.
So, excuse me, when you guys are building sites, do you have, I don't know, like a program on your computer, like Access or something, where you can see the database and see what the fields are called, so you know what they're, like what Megan or David called them or whatever?
There is different programs for this. The one that I personally recommend is called PHPmyAdmin. And if you sign up with a web host like Yahoo Small Business or something, they will usually have this one installed. It's by far the most popular one for dealing with MySQL databases. I'm here to visit Florida meetings. This is our development server. And here's a list of all of the database tables in the server, how many records they have, and so on. Let's go into the blog table. Here's all of the fields in the blog table. Go to browse. Here's all of the information in the table. So this is just another chart that represents what's stored in that database. And this PHPmyAdmin is a wonderful thing for manipulating the data directly. If you need to go in there and manually insert another record, if you need to just browse and read what's in it, you can actually write instructions right here, SQL statements right here, select star from, or insert into whatever. If you need to run a function, if you need to test a function, if you have something written in your script that's not working, if for some reason you can't tell what the problem is,
How would you get this started for a site that you'd be working on, like the PHPmyAdmin?
How do you get started with using it?
Yeah, like how do you set it up so that, I mean, obviously you have to add the sites and the databases that you're referencing and using.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time, the company, if you sign up with a web host, most of them out there will use PHPmyAdmin. Most of them will give you a link into this. You will get one database with your connection, which is all most sites need. Because this is our development server and we have all of the sites on it, we have lots and lots of sites on here from different clients, as you can see. So each of these is a database running one of our sites.
What does the number mean? That's 65 of them?
That's how many tables are within that database. A table organizes different information. So a table is a set of information like users or articles or videos or something like that.
Wow, it's a first.
So this is like the back end to what the data department uses, right? Like their GUI interfaces for when they're inputting listings and stuff.
I don't know if they use this one directly. I know David Durr uses this. Actually, I think he has a different program that he prefers, but it's just like PHPmyAdmin. This one is web-based. But this is good for finding an error. So I've intentionally typed a typo in here, and it'll give you a very nice error message. Oh, I mistyped what the name of that field is. And that will help you debug your queries when they're breaking in your script. Like I said, you've got the option there to email yourself the broken query. You paste that into this program and you run it. Oh, that's what's wrong with it.
Yeah, I saw yesterday with Mitch, the email stuff. He was doing modifications to the email through this. Like changing the fonts and sizes. Like there was already attached a CSS, like a or something. I don't know. Is that correct? I was like,
I don't know for sure how Dialog Team does things. I know that they have scripts that generate the emails ultimately. So they have a shell that is the email that's been designed, and then to populate it with content, they have to run a script that goes to the database that pulls out this month's issue or whatever issue, and fill in all of those blanks with variables, and then you've got yourself a finished email message stored as a string, and then you go and connect to Silverpop server and pass in that string, and they take care of it from there. So
No, it looks like
It's not magic.
science.
it just
It's science.
it's
No,
not.
but I saw that he was modifying, like literally the page through here, because I can see that it was all these different pieces were connecting. But then he was even able to modify, colors and stuff. I was like, I didn't know that, because I always get. Okay, keep going.
Sure.
Okay, now I see
The
how.
database is pretty straightforward. You have a set of records in here. Each one should have a unique ID number. That is to make sure that two records can't be identical. If we had just a database full of just names and we happen to put in two people named Travis, then we suddenly would. How do you select which one you're talking about? Give each one a unique ID number first, and that'll make sure they stay separate. Beyond that, it's just a matter of which fields you need to store. If you go back to the structure of the database, you can see there's different kinds of fields. Well, in this one, they're just using a variable character field of 255 characters. Let's see if I can find a different one. So here's some different examples. We're storing the ID number as an integer field, a 10 possible character limit. This is a tiny text field, which is 255 character limit. It's nice for just storing a name. We also have a date field, which is stored in this format. These are different kinds of ways to store information in the MySQL database. You can guess basically text and integer are the two that you're going to use most often. And you want to use either tiny text for very short fields or long text for very long fields. It's just a matter of if you use tiny text fields, it'll be much faster to get that information out. So this is an example of how they're storing that. Date field, I don't know that this is correct. I have to look into that. But this is correct. Actually, no, that's not correct. This is correct. This is the date field, and this is just a text field that they happen to be storing information in it. In this text field that just looks like a date. That's a nice, simple example.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, each of those rows, or like the one you were showing before,
You want me to go back to that one?
yeah, is that, like the business, that's a field that you're putting in there, and it will be then reading whatever business field, the PHP pages you got?
The ultimate purpose of that, there's no point in storing the information if you're not going to use it somehow, and that's where the script comes in. The script goes and gets the information out of the database or puts the information into it.